Welcome to the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge with your host, Nader Sabri, and someone really special today with us.
It's me.
This is a two-time TEDx speaker who teaches people all around the world, including organizations like HSBC, how to communicate effectively and create presentations that get results. I am honored to have with us today Rohit BASSI from ROI Talks, a global expert in communications with specialization in very unique areas in communications like conscious communications and executive presence. I've been honored to not also have Rohit as a friend, but also a mentor who's helped me increase and improve my communications and has given me hacks that have significantly amplified my communications as well. For those of us joining us, the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge is 10 days, 3 growth hacks to 10x your business. It is based on the growth thinking methodology, which if you'd like to do what we're doing here on the challenge, you can do the same, getting this book. Rohit, welcome aboard. Showing us your fantastic communication skills there, man. It's a pleasure to have you on board.
I think, when you don't have the fun element, life is not worth anything. It's good to have fun. People are too serious. Whenever I hear people often say, hey, you got to be serious. And think about it, Nader. The word serious, when somebody says to you, be serious, what happens to your body?
You tense up. Like you're like, have I done my nails? Have I done my hair? You get self-conscious, right? You're not yourself. That authenticity does not come out. I completely agree with you. Yeah.
So you stiffen up, it affects your breathing, everything. So rather than being serious, you turn into focus. That's so important, to be in focus. And when you're focused, you can have a lot of fun while being in focus.
Completely agreed. And we work on the same philosophy, man. If you're not having fun, you're not living life. And one of the things about this challenge is we've been having a lot of fun, but not necessarily on camera, which I'm excited we're having today. And that's your authentic self, which I greatly appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who want to get more information before we get started, hit the description below to learn more about Rohit and what he does. Rohit, I want to pass it over to you. Tell the audience about who you are, what you do, and then we're going to jump into the game. Go for it.
Okay. Nader, I'm a soul that has been sent to this earth. I don't know. I'm just joking over there. Well, if you look at it from a professional perspective and a personal perspective as well, I'll give you both of it. I'm often asked, what do you want in life? And I always say, it's not what I want in life, it's what's important to me in life. And when I do that, I'm able to actually put things in greater perspective for myself. And this is how I help people who I coach as well. Because wants are never ending. As humans, we have wants which are never ending. But when you ask yourself the question, what is important to you in your life? You suddenly take a seat back and you say, ooh, I need to look at what's important, and you somehow start prioritizing it without even realizing what is the most important to the least important. I wouldn't say even the least important, but what is really, really gets you. So as a persona for myself, what is important to me is, firstly, is my connection with the higher self. Now, when we talk about the higher self, people may call it God, people may call it Allah, people call it whatever they want to. I would say it's just a greater power which resides upon all of us. So it's my connection, my love and compassion and joy with that energy. I would say is my family. My family is in good health. They are well kept. If there are any challenges, I'm there for them. Then I would say it comes to is what I do in terms of helping others, helping myself as well at the same time, because every time I coach someone or train someone or I'm on the stage doing a talk, I learn something about myself as well. And it's not necessary on a professional level. It can be on a very personal values level as well. So this is how I tend to see myself as an individual. On a professional level, and that's what we're here to look at, it is 10x And you know what I feel when I hear the word 10x. It's because it's you, I'm happy to do this. I'll be very honest, because it's you, I'm happy to take it. And you know, when I hear the word growth hacking, how I go, but because it's you, it's a different case, because you're an extremely authentic individual who doesn't do BS.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
And the work which you do is based on good findings, solid research, solid findings. So there's substance. It's not just thrown in the air like so-called many people do it, who are very popular across the globe. So when I'm dealing with my clients, be it as a speaker, a trainer, or a coach, people often ask me, "Hey, what do you do?" And my short answer is I talk. I only talk when I'm asked something. Otherwise, I just listen. Most of the times I listen. Now, if I go into more detail into it, in simple words, what I would say is I focus on developing leadership communication through mindfulness. Now, often people say, "Hey, what does that mean?" Well, I'm not a leader. Well, everyone is a leader in their own rights. Not necessarily if they have a title, that means they're a leader. You are leading your life on a day-to-day basis. So you're a leader for yourself. So that's self-leadership. You're attempting to achieve your own goals, your dreams, your aspiration. So you're leading yourself towards that. So you are a leader. And doesn't matter if you have got a title of a leader or you have no title of a leader, you're still a leader, and you need to be able to communicate with yourself and other people with mindfulness. When I say mindfulness, is being aware of your state, physically, mentally, emotionally, what's around you, the people who are around you. So being in that present moment. And that can be very tough, because unfortunately, from the day we're born and through our education, through our university life, even when we come into work placement, we are not taught how to be in the moment. We are always taught to be is doing, do. And if you pronounce do, it sounds like, do. Meaning
doggy doo-doo.
Exactly.
Yeah,
rather than do, be a do, you start being in a state of being, be in a state of flow. So what does that do for individuals, leaders, and teams? In simple words, it helps them to lead with courage, clarity, conviction, and compassion. And that's what my focus tends to is that people are able to lead themselves and others with courage, clarity, conviction, and compassion. And that means being more mindful. And often, if not even often, most of the times, mindfulness is misunderstood by just meditation. Meditation is definitely a part of mindfulness, but mindful encompasses much more, such as the way you view things, your perception. Remember when we initially met, you said everyone has a filter of their world and they use different filters, perceptions which we have. As soon as we start removing those filters, reality really comes up, and sometimes it really hits us. So the perception of the world is a part of mindfulness. How you speak to yourself and others, that is mindfulness. So do you beat yourself up? Are you obnoxious and rude with other people? Are you submissive, aggressive, or assertive? All got to do with how you speak. What actions you take based on your views and the way you speak. How do you do your living? So when I talk about living, is your living mindful? Meaning, does your living harm other people, or is it actually helping other people? So you see, when you look at mindfulness, it encompasses many things. And that's what I tend to focus on is when I talk about leadership communication through mindfulness. It's not just, I'm going to communicate and I will talk to you.
Actually, I want to share a very interesting story that just happened this afternoon, triggered by exactly what you said. I belong to obviously several communities and groups in the growth hacking community at very high levels. And there was a conversation around a very large set of data that is very powerful. And it's funny because the way that many people were talking about using this data, a lot of it leaned to the negative side. And one of the gentlemen in the group raised his hand and said, guys, we could do that, or we can look at the other side of the equation and see how do we embed people's lives and help other people using this data. And immediately I had jumped in and I said, guys, he is on the right track. We always seem to see that how to use that data in negative ways, but what if that data was used to empower and enhance and enrich other people? And the whole conversation in the group for the first time had taken a new narrative about, we're not about, rather than like, how do we, take advantage of this data? How do we use this data to help people? And it was a beautiful conversation. I'm telling you, it was a complete shift in narrative, which goes to the point of mindfulness. And I completely agree with you, because we need to understand the consequences. And we live in a world where we've had this awakening because of COVID-19 and the pandemic, where the truth is unveiling, right? And like you said, when we first met, we talked about this concept I have about layers and these conditions. And the minute you start to remove this conditioning, you become a growth hacker, because you start to see realities in a way that you can use them for opportunities in positive ways with no negative consequences. Now, we have to be fair. Sometimes there are some little consequences, but ultimately being aware of like how to minimize it and being well-intentioned is crucial. We are lucky to have you on board here. Just for those who are joining us on this, Rohit works with some of the top names in the speaking world. He is behind the scenes and really quite extremely humble, but I got to tell you, the way he trains people how to communicate, not just as leaders in big corporations, but those who get on the stage and present, is incredible. We're going to be growth hacking his business and looking at some of the growth challenges that come with this. And one of the things that he talks about, and you brought this up in an indirect way earlier, and he's brought this to my world, which is the growing movement around fake gurus. And fake gurus are a big problem. And he's been sharing with me incredible information about this. And him, like I and many, are victims actually of this fake guru movement, because we try to deliver genuine good service and help people. And so when you fall under a label where somebody's not doing that, you also suffer from that. We won't go so deep into that, but that's part of the mindfulness element of things. So on that note, let's jump over to understanding what are some of the growth challenges you have in what you do, opening it on that note, and what are the three growth hacks that we're going to look at in the next 10 days.
Okay, so when I was nominated on this, and you asked me what's going on, what's happening, and you've been aware about it. And you've been, in certain ways, you've been going through a similar challenge like me. And it's just not me. I see many businesses like mine, one-man businesses, who I would say, we're not businesses, we're practitioners. We practice our art. That's what we do. We are practitioners. We are practicing our art, and we are, through that, we're serving, helping, and supporting other people. Now, we see marketing being a massive, massive, massive challenge. Now, what do I mean by that? In my early days, I used to think I can't sell, but only to realize I started looking, especially during the COVID period, I started looking at all the clients which I've worked with, and there've been some very high-end clients which I've worked with. And then there are people who are not, the clients which are not well known. This is corporates I'm talking about specifically. And then there are very individuals who are like, your CFO, CEOs, or directors. I've worked with them. And then you've got people who are just, working in a corporate job. And now, 98% of my business came through referrals. Yeah? And this is a pattern which I've seen over the last 10 years. I've been doing this now. And yes, I have done my best to market myself, use SEO, use digital marketing wherever possible. It's failed. SEO still has worked to a certain extent. I'm not going to put that down. In terms of digital marketing, in terms of when they say digital marketing is building that content, delivering that content, I've been doing that. You yourself know I've got over, I think, about 350 videos on YouTube. Yeah, I've got incredible. 350 articles on LinkedIn. So there's enough content which I have, which is some is very heavy content, some is very light content, and repurposing it, redoing it as what the gurus say, that do this, do that. And it's not worked for me. Maybe there's something which I'm not doing quite right. When I've spoken to certain so-called marketing firms to help me out, because sales part, I'm able to do it. It's getting those leads in the pipeline, those leads which are qualified leads, which are willing to talk to you. How do you do that? And I burnt my fingers. I've lost money on this.
You and millions of people. I mean, I think this is like a class, as a customer acquisition problem faced by many, many businesses. And it starts usually with awareness, which is usually where the SEO element comes into play, which someone discovers who's Rohit and what he does, and then they become interested, and all of a sudden becomes a lead. The challenge with that is that there's a lot of competition. The algorithms are changing. And I think it's a game that nobody should not do. You need to do it. And I think you can do it in excellent ways, but being 100% dependent on it is probably a very bad idea, because you need to be at a certain scale for that to work. And you need to be in certain types of businesses, by the way, that I've seen that this works very well. But in your particular case, I mean, I think you've identified the sweet spot with your growth, which is referrals. And I think what we need to look at is how do we create viral loops, which are essentially growth hacking techniques that work within the referral network. Now, referrals is an old school 101 thing, but the way that we implement and tackle and growth hack referrals has changed. And I think using some of the technologies and some of the things that we've been talking about, how to stimulate awareness, how to bring in more leads, and eventually how to perpetuate those leads and those clients into more referrals is going to be key to making this work. So I think that you've identified shifting kind of from that 2% where you had all that effort into that 98%, which is like, well, this is what's been working. Why did I shift? Ultimately, you need a balance between the two. And I think you know that very well. And I think you're doing a good job about that. I mean, the kind of content you have and the amount of it is a lot. People can spend a lifetime creating that level of content. It needs to be used. It should never go to waste, but that should not be your only channel. And I think that's what we're going to be looking at. So I think to summarize it, the challenge is awareness, customer acquisition, and then the referral part. And I think that's what we need to look at. And we've talked about 3 growth hacks. Let's cement them. What are we going to do in the next 3 days to exponentially grow your business, man?
So one of the things which we spoke about was, and this is going to be interesting, and this has taken me a bit. I love doing videos, as you know, and I'm not a person who will. So usually a lot of people script their videos, and they script for it for ages and ages and ages. There's absolutely everything right with that. To a certain extent, the way I do my videos is more on an authentic basis, where an idea comes into my mind, I'll jot a couple of notes and I'll just get to the camera.
Beautiful.
And then I'll do a couple of takes. And when I say, okay, this take is fine, it's okay if it's got a few little missed errors over here, that's fine. As an overall, it's great. And I just deliver it. And you'll see most of my videos are done that way. In the case where a video is too scripted, I can tell there's hesitation. In fact, some people who know me very well, they said, that's not you. You know, that's the rawness is not there.
Wow. Wow.
And
really?
they appreciate the rawness which I bring into the content. Which I
understood. Yeah.
Because it sounds too scripted, A, B, C, D, you know, it's too, so.
But that's because that's how you naturally communicate, is with that structure. I do that as well. And you did an experiment prior to this call, which was pretty cool, because I challenged you, and Rohit has already started taking action, which is awesome. So everybody watching, action is important. Not overdoing it, but getting the right action in place. And you experimented on me, and I loved it. It was clear. It was authentic. You were looking straight at me without me actually being in front of you, which was pretty awesome. That's one of the benefits of video. And you've been practicing this for so long. It's one of these like super skills that you have that you need to put into your advantage. And I think so many people are shy to get on video, including me. You remember, I used to be super shy, and I overcame it by saying, I don't care what my fuck ups are. I'm just going to keep fucking up and getting all my feedback. Do you remember? And I had on my whiteboard, and I had this list of fuck ups, and it was everything from like iron your shirt to like comb your hair to, dude, wear the lights. I mean, it was like simple stuff like that. But I said, like, there was no way past this unless I did it. And that's what got me in front of cameras. And I remember you were one of the people who were mentoring me and guiding me through it. And ultimately, I think that's your superpower. and I think we need to use that, especially in the awareness part at the very beginning. And you have a very cool tool It's a mind hack tool. I'm not going to go deep into it. I'm going to let you talk about it because I think we're not going to go deep into what the hacks are today, but we're just going to cover kind of where we're going with these hacks. Well, we'll say what they are, but not the details of them, of course, because they'll check it out in the next 10 days as we pull them off.
Okay, so give me 1 minute. I'm going to bring this tool out just to quickly just show it. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
So, so one of the things which we discussed is, so when I'm dealing with clients, this is either learning and development in training or especially one-to-one coaching. I use this tool called Mind. Okay, so it's basically a neuroscience tool. A neuroscience tool, meaning it's based on science. It's not mumbo jumbo gibberish stuff. It is based on science. It is neuroscience. And it is basically telling you as an individual, hey, Nadir, how do you actually really use your brain? And what does that mean? Well, that simply means is the way this particular tool works is it's divided your brain into 4 main segments. And it basically says, okay, are you dominated by your logic? You're being spontaneous, feelings, or being very specific? Everyone has a way of doing it. And it basically works out, is based on the questions you've answered, comes up with the answer and says, okay, Nadir, when you're in a situation, usually you would start with your feelings, then you would move to logic, then you would move to specific, and then you would become spontaneous. So your feelings are your domineering way of going into communication, resolving issues, being in a conflict situation, how to move out of it, communicating. You come from a feeling perspective. Now just imagine that you were talking to someone who's very logical and you're all in feelings. It kind of becomes a bit of a pain for the person who's in logical. There's a mismatch.
Communication. Yep.
So what the tool is saying, this is how you operate. Now think about it, how another person operates. And so what you start doing is observing the other person and then seeing, okay, this person comes across more as a logic person. Let me be more flexible with my communication and bring more of the logic into this conversation, into this communication to make it move forward. So this is, this is just a very basic thing of how this tool works. So I've used this with leaders in terms of how they communicate with their teams, how they present in front of public or do a presentation. I've used this tool in terms of when people are in a relationship challenge and they're not aware of what's going on with them, or they're not able to understand their partner. Yeah, so in those scenarios as well. So this is the different ways. So people in sales have used it, people in leadership, people in someone who's in innovation or technology, HR, or even just an individual. So for example, if let's say, couple of years from now on, your son Hassan has to go to university, or he has to go to university, and he wants to know, in order for him to do well during his university, is how does he need to improve his communication? So we could do a small profiling for him to see how does he operate, and when he is in university, how can he actually improve himself in order to finish his assignments, connect with the right people, be more attentive, and so forth. So it's usually used, the tool is used usually if you're 18 and above, not for below, because you're still developing as an individual. Yes, at 18 you're developing as well, but till 18, I believe most people have some sense in them.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe more sensible under the age of 18 than above.
Exactly.
In some weird ways. Well, that's really cool. And I know that we're going to have a lot more of this coming as we go deeper into the hack. And I'm super excited about it because from the day you introduced me to this tool, I've seen a ton of ways to hack this and a ton of ways that people can benefit from this. They just need to be aware. You need to acquire the lead and then get referrals out of it. And I think that's where these that's where the 3 growth problems are. And those were the hacks that we're going to apply need to come into play. So yeah, I think that's awesome. So let's break it down into the 3 growth hacks that we're going to do in the next 10 days. So people are ready to see this in action.
Okay. So the first growth hack, which we kind of briefly spoke about, is videos. So doing those 1 minute videos, sending them through LinkedIn, personalize them rather than doing a generic one, personalize them and say, hey, Nadir, this is Rohit, great to be connected to you, blah, 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 blah. Tell them about, how you can help them. Let's get connected. And that's one hack. So that's something which is going to start happening this coming week.
Awesome. So that's hack number one, right? That's hack number one. Yeah. Perfect. Second hack.
Second hack is incubators.
Okay.
With the work which I do there's a lot of incubators and they pitch their ideas, and many people fail on the pitching phase.
Yeah.
Their idea might be great. They may have great passion. Their slide decks may be wonderful, but the business story which they have, it is not emotionally connecting to the investors. Okay. So when you're pitching, there's a way to deliver yourself. And like, I specialize in how you communicate, especially in a presentation, in a public speaking scenario. So this is where I want to help those incubators, people in the incubating phase, is how do you pitch yourself to these investors? I mean, a simple thing is, which I always tell them to use this, I think is Guy Kawasaki, I think the guy's name is, I can't remember, that's what he is. He used to work with Apple. He has this simple slide deck template, which he gives away for free.
Oh yeah,
follow that.
I think the 30-20-10 rule, right?
Something, yeah. So one of the easy, people use it, but still they don't have a story on how they're going to deliver their session, how they're going to deliver. Now, it's not, also when people are pitching, they forget it's not just about a slide. Now, if you have a product, then you need to show the product, make them feel that, and give them the details on that.
And I think you need to connect on a human level as well, because I think that's one of the most important things, because there's a lot of distrust when someone walks in and pitches, because people get, like you were saying at the beginning of the call, they get kind of nervous, right? They get, oh my God, I'm being pitched at, right? Nobody likes that. But being able to communicate on a human level and bring people's kind of guard down, and then have a real kind of, I don't know what you call it, equitable or aligned conversation where you can actually really communicate what you want and get it across without all the barriers. I think this could be super crucial, man, for startup companies, even high growth companies who need to continuously find resources, and they're consistently pitching for partnerships, collaborations, getting in other investors on board, exiting investors, whatever it might be. I mean, they need to be communicating like this, and they gotta learn these kinds of skills. It's not just the slides. I mean, you got tons of tools to get those slides, I can tell you that, but it's not the slide. That's not the problem.
It's not the slide. So, for example, recently I did a coaching session for a business owner, and she had to do a public speaking. This was her first opportunity amongst the public, and this is not in her industry, across multiple industry, talk about a specific idea which she had. So she hired me for that. Just how do I deliver it? So when I sat down with her, went through the session, when I did a one-to-one coaching with her, to begin with, she did not know where to start. She did not have any idea where to start. So I sat down with her. I said, okay, talk to me. What is that you're talking about? So she started talking to me. I started making notes in my doctor's handwriting, started making the notes, and certain words were really coming out. And so we made a story based on those 3 words coming out, so they stand out and they do an emotional connect with the listener. And when she went to do the delivery, she was surprised at what happened. We did a number of practice sessions. And the thing is, most people, when they are pitching, they think, oh, it has to be exactly like the script. No, it doesn't have to be like that. So just showing you an example is like, you've got business owners, CFO, CEOs who come to me in how do I present myself in a public speaking scenario. In the same way, this is required for those people who are incubator stage, or they have an idea they want to invest to a pitcher. That's something which we're looking at, aiming at those particular people, finding which are the incubators which we can go and pitch them this idea that, hey, here's a coach who can help you out.
Awesome. So that's number 2. Hack number 3.
Hack number 3, which I'm uncomfortable with this one. Okay. But it's something which we discussed about, is connecting with those YouTube individuals who have quite a lot of views and subscribers in terms of how do you do a presentation, i.e. when I say how do you do presentation, how do you use Microsoft PowerPoint?
Yeah.
You know? And there's some channels out there which have a lot of subscribers and viewers to how to use Microsoft PowerPoint.
Yep.
Now, if they're using PowerPoint to present, very likely a number of them are also presenting to people. And this is where I come in, is saying, hey, you've got a presentation, but
yep.
your story. How
yep.
do you deliver?
Yep.
So somehow finding the these subscribers who come to these channels and talking to these channels, how can we be in collaboration and upsell my services to these people?
Yep. I think like on this last growth, like I really like the fact that you've communicated that you're uncomfortable with that hack and you're trying to absorb and work with it. What I can tell you is the more uncomfortable you are, the higher the chance is probably going to bring you some results that will surprise you, because growth is not in a comfortable place. And that's just one of those things, but you don't have to be so discomfortable that it hurts. That's not where we're going with this.
Yep.
We need to be in a spot where we find that sweet spot. And I think that the idea of like somebody who teaches you to develop the slides technically is only 50% of the story. The remaining of the 50% of the story is what you do. And I think that collaboration point, if done very well, is like peanut butter and jelly, man. It's like it comes together in a nice way. But like all growth hacking, and as you're going to learn, it's all about experimentation. In reality, we don't know what the answer is because we haven't actually tried it. Until we try it and adjust and try it and adjust and see where that sweet spot is, we don't actually really know. And that's ultimately what I tell people, is just go about it in an open way, flow with it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because you move on to the next thing, because this will always lead to something next. And that's where the skill of growth hacking becomes very refined. It's not a one-off thing. My gut instinct is that I think that this is something that may potentially surprise you, but we'll find out. We'll find out. But I'm glad that you're not comfortable. It's a very good starting point. And I'm glad that you're open about it. People who come to this challenge, one thing I started to recognize is people who come on this challenge like yourself have a lot of courage, by the way. And I don't do a good enough job in commending everybody about the courage they have, because I get so involved in the detail of actually pulling this challenge off and making sure that people succeed in the best way possible. So my hat goes off to you for the courage of saying that, hey, I'm not comfortable with it. That's good news, man. You'll see what I'm talking about. So this is good. This is good, man. It's all good. So guys, that's Rohit BASSI with ROI Talks, a 2-time TEDx speaker, working with some of the top speakers around the world, getting them on stage and into boardrooms, communicating effectively using some highly advanced techniques, including mindfulness and consciousness, which are crucial elements, especially in today's world. For those tuning in who want more information, you can find it below. For those who want to get onto this challenge or learn more about this challenge is only by nomination, but if you want to learn more about how you can do what we're doing, pick up your book. Growth Thinking is a design methodology that will help you do that. Rohit, we will see you in growth hack #1 in the next video. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful life.
Yes. See you soon.
See you.